Hello, everyone, and welcome to podcast number 3 of the TotalSUP.Training podcast series. Today, we are going to talk about the ICF calendar 2026. My good friend Christian Taher, all the way from Thailand, is with us from SUP.Training, athlete and coach. Where do we find information about SUP.Training, Christian?
www.sup.training. Very simple. Yeah. Or you
Okay.
talk at the events to me or to Andre Krater, to Mika Meyerhofer, to Philipp Reiner. So we are a coaches team, so we are not alone. And so we really like separate the athletes, trying to find the right coach for each athlete. Because, for example, Hanna Kaminska wants to be good in sprinting. She's going to train with Andre, others like Manuel Lauble, they are training with me because they want to get world champion in long distance. That's how it works.
And to be good at ping pong, who do we train with?
Yeah. Okay. This is another thing. I think we will invite you because you are French, and I heard you guys are good at stuff like that.
All right, fair enough. Well, let's get to it. Christian, we've got a busy season ahead. Podcast number 1 turned out to be almost 80% dedicated to the European SUP League. Obviously, this is a big thing happening in our world of SUP racing. But the ICF is obviously equally important for, I would say, traditional distances, sprint, technical race, and long distance, because we also have another world out there, which is ultra long distance. And I'm sure very soon we'll be talking about ultra long distance racing too. But the ICF, let's put some basics. First of all, on the ICF, because some people might be just new to our community, and we need to explain what's going on really. ICF, International Canoe Federation. It's basically one of the two bodies that at international level which governs our sport. There was a big battle between the Surfing Federation and the Canoe Federation back in 2018, 2019. It was all ruled by the International Olympic Committee towards surfing in terms of Olympic representation of the sport, but both
The
federations.
first Olympic representation. So they have one peak, they can try it one time. And that's why they also I don't know, don't even try at the moment, because if they lose this first pick, then the others can jump in. So it was stated clearly and in this decision at that time that they have the first try to bring it to the Olympic Games. And so they want to make it sure. If they try, then they make it sure, something like that. That's a little bit, yeah.
Thanks, Christian, for that very important reminder. So far, no Olympic games for us, for the world of SUP racing just yet. We are hoping for Brisbane, of course, but to be honest, I'm not holding my breath right now, because we heard, if 5 years ago already, we were hoping for Paris 2024, and I have the feeling this is just one thing that's a little carrot in front of us, and I don't know how serious the Surfing Federation is as to putting our sport up there in their agenda. What do you think,
Yeah,
Christian?
the question is, what will change if the sport gets Olympic? What positive or negative things will happen when it gets Olympic medals for stand-up paddling? This is the main question, because as we know from other sports, the Olympic medals and the Olympic system does not make a sport healthy at all. So it shines like on top, there's Olympic medal, okay, but it does not tell anything if there is juniors, if there is a lot of people doing the sport, if there are big events and so on. Because just look at, for example, snowboarding, alpine snowboarding, I think there is no brand at the moment who is producing alpine snowboards for the open market. They stopped all of them. There's just a few ones who are doing like 20 pieces of snowboards for professionals. So actually you can count all snowboarders who are doing like alpine snowboarding on your hands, you know, even the age group snowboarders, whatever, you know, you don't have any kind of, you know, background anymore. So
Yeah.
actually this is what I tell. It does not tell anything about the health or the healthiness of a sport when it gets Olympic or not. But on the other hand, you get some positive effects too. You got some fundings from the government. So the professionals, for them it's easier. So they got like, I don't know, they go to the police or to the military service, get the foundings for working hard 4 years in the gym, on the water to represent their country, to qualify and represent their country. So this is a different thing, you know. So you don't run after sponsors anymore and all the stuff, which is now at the moment the case. So two sides, you know. And I think the only thing we can do is to make the sports healthy. And for a healthy sport, you need many participants and you know many juniors, many also age group athletes which are new in the sport and so on. So to make the entry level as low as possible.
Okay. Well, anyway, this is we've done without the Olympic Games so far, and what we've been dealing with these past few years is basically two strong federation, the Surf Federation on one side and the ICF, the Canoe Federation on the other side, organizing their own circuits and their own world championships. Actually, for the ISA, the International Surfing Association, there's no circuit, but this year there's a European Surfing Federation, and we talked about that in podcast number 1, organizing their own European circuit, and basically that is going that is facing what the ICF is organizing as a circuit, because most of those events are actually happening in Europe under the ICF. We call them the ICF SUP World Ranking Event Series. It's a bit of a long title. Within those events, you also have supposedly one per year, but I think this year we're going to have 2 ICF World Cups, which are basically qualifying events for the World Championships. Not so much qualifying, because that's the big difference with the ISA events, is that the ICF have got World Championships which are open to everybody. But in order to skip the initial rounds in the sprints and in the technical race, you can win points in the ICF circuit prior to the event, and if you rank well, skip those initial rounds and qualify straight for the opening official round. Christian.
And in the last years, it was always like that the winners of the World Cups, they got free foundings for the participation of the World Championships. So they actually got the flights paid and the entrance fees, and I think even the hotel costs. So actually, it was a big win for some of the professional guys.
Professional, so only in the open divisions.
Only open, yes. In the age groups, you just have this, exactly what you told, this kind of ranking where you skip the first rounds. And that's it. So a better seeding for the sprints and for the technical race, because for long distance, obviously, you have no seeding. Yeah,
absolutely. I really want to emphasize, Christian, how big now the ICF World Championships is on our sport, or has been on our sport. The fact that, I think it was at the beginning, I have the feeling it was a bit of a marketing coup, to be honest, because in all the other disciplines, I don't think they work like that. They decided, in order to, in a seductive move towards the SUP race community, to open their World Championship to absolutely everyone. And that those big arms open have made that all of a sudden, on top of the juniors, which under the ISA only compete in a few events, I think only the technical race, I believe, everybody, every age groups, juniors, 40 plus and 50 plus, on top, obviously, the open men and women. Obviously, you multiply that to
Yes.
genders. Were able to compete in every single discipline, and year after year, the main, what used to be the main focus, the open men and women, completely expanded to all the other age groups, and now we have a whole SUP race community that are loyal to the ICF events and the World Championships, really taking this very seriously, and are given a lot of exposure by us, the media, doing the live stream and so on. And because it's we have repeating athletes coming back to those events. Basically, the focus is as much as on them as the open men and women now on the world stage.
Yes, we discussed this often before. Actually, it's not common in the ICF that masters or age groups are competing with the elite. So usually, like a Canoe World Championships, they are like only the professionals and then only the under 23 or something like this, you know. So it's like separated. But they did this smart move, and this smart move, actually, I was thinking it's actually the move I expected from the ISA, you know, to make it like include everyone, you know, like make it a big party, you know, make a big like meet up from all races around the world. And this was a very smart move, and it became big because of that. You know, the organization is perfect. They have like a pretty tight frame. What is how the World Championship should look like. So they made this frame, and then they work with local organizers who stick to this, and they bring in some experts from. They did hundreds of other events in canoe, dragon boat, whatever, and then yeah, it looks like, you know. So like the last years, and they were run really good, and yeah, that's why everyone is attending it. And for most of the athletes, also in the age groups, this is the main event a year.
That's it, and it's become the norm. One of the biggest benefits that we get from it is that we have these youth training, youth coaching has become a big thing now, because slowly, and it's still an early process, I think, under the ICF, and under that the European and national canoe federations. Slowly, you get this influx of canoe, kayak paddlers going into SUP racing, obviously with newcomers, but basically you have these hubs of youth groups in countries that in the last decade we had not heard of in the associated with SUP racing. So European Central countries like Romania, Hungary,
Yes.
Austria, and so on. Greece is obviously also big. Poland, and it's not completely associated with the Canoe Federation, but basically this it has helped a lot, and due to that big exposure that all the other categories are having, and especially the juniors.
Yes, actually, intern in the ICF, you know, when you see these structures they have, and they are like grown from long time ago. So actually, they might be a little bit old-fashioned, and they stick to their own disciplines and so on, you know. But there was like a big push from the top, you know. They really like forced more or less the clubs, the national federations to do something with SUP, you know. So they were really pushing them. And for example, the first World Championships in China, you remember, it was the week after the canoe and kayak World Championships, and they committed the top athletes from the canoe and kayak to start at the World Championships in SUP. So they really like pushed them to go there. And there was Sebastian Brandl, like, I don't know, 3 times Olympian champion and so on, you know. They were starting there next to us, you know, or Joop van Bakel, you know, went there with us, you know. He was like coming there after the race at the World Championships. I think he finished 5th or 6th, I don't know, but really good in the kayak. And then he went to the SUP, you know. So this was a big push at the beginning, and they did not stop. So, and after a time, you know, it always takes time, you know, even the last little club, they get it. Okay, this stand-up paddling is really, it's a sport, you know. And yeah, and now we see already that these small clubs, they produce stand-up paddlers, you know, because they figured out, okay, in winter times, in cold Bulgaria, it's much easier to paddle on a SUP than in a canoe or in a kayak. So, okay, let's do some kilometers on the SUP, you know, because it's also training.
Absolutely.
It's similar. It's not the same, but you stay away from the water. You don't get wet. So it's, you know, much easier because they were used to stop paddling in the winter, except some training camps in Sabaudia, for example, in Italy, where the World Championships are now, you know. But these Eastern countries, they did not train in the winter on the water, but it's changed because of stand-up paddling. So I think it's cool, you know.
And the result is basically now an influx of canoe kayak tradition into SUP racing and top paddlers. And the first one of those the very first, very charismatic one athletes coming from that world into ours is Andre Crater. Andre
Yes,
Crater,
absolutely.
sprint canoe world champion, who basically completely embraced the SUP racing scene and is completely part of it now. Since then, he's won a world title in 2024. He was already on the podium in 2023 with a bronze medal. Again, another bronze medal.
He was fourth at the first one, at the first World
Was he?
Championships.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty close finish. I don't know. It was like a photo finish. He almost got third, but he finished fourth. And I also have to mention Tamas Budaj. You remember him? The Canadian guy. He's also Olympian in canoe. Tamas Budaj. Hungarian, but living in Canada. So he was also one of the first guys from canoe who went to do like really SUP training in all kind of ways, you know, having a team, pushing it hard in Canada, in US and so on. And Tamas actually will come with his team to the Lake Rocks, you know.
Absolutely.
So,
and
yeah,
what we're talking about this, I was looking for my 2025 ICF World Championship report because I actually spotted all the podium makers and some world champions coming from the canoe world. Obviously, just for talking about the open men, behind Sergio Cantoral, who was an amazing world champion in 2025, you have two very strong sprint canoe champs, Vadim Korobov and Andre Crater. But the 40 plus, the winner of the 40 plus women, for example, who I think comes from Russia, is another one. It's on TotalSUP.com. I'm actually looking for the article right now, but basically
it's Merkulova. It's Merkulova. She won the World Championships.
Okay, Merkulova is definitely
She's
one of those.
She's a really nice person. I talked to her. Yeah, at the Worlds.
But there are a few. Okay, the sprint canoe invasion. I called that paragraph, and I spotted Anastasia Ganina, who claimed the world title in 2025. Vadim Korobov, Ivan Shirshov, who was in the 40 plus. He had a bronze medal in the sprints. You mentioned Merkulova indeed. So Andre Crater, obviously, and so on. So yeah, there is basically that mix of culture which has been happening since the very first World Championship in China. And let me please just add, since we're talking about history, another important information that people might have forgotten. China was not supposed to be the first ICF SUP World Championship.
I know.
Portugal was.
I know.
And I was going to be the speaker for that event in Portugal. But that was at the time when the ISA and the ICF were at war. The Portuguese canoe surf federation had surfing federation had the authority over stand-up paddling, and basically disallowed this event to happen for stand-up paddling. So basically it was cancelled for legal reasons, as the Portuguese surfing federation I guess helped push the ISA agenda back then. So the first event should have taken place in 2018 in Portugal, and not in China in 2019.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting because the long distance race would have been a downwind race.
Exactly, absolutely.
Yeah.
It was happening at the same time as an ocean racing race with surf skis and outrigger canoes. And yeah, that's for the history.
Actually the ICF is improving, you know, and they are really like, I think they do not gain anything out of it. They really like push the sport out of like, okay, they know it's just a discipline where you paddle, and it fits to their clubs. They have a huge club system all over the world. They have national federations and even regional federations, you know, and in most countries, also in Austria, the foundings are running over these channels because they have this kind of structures. So, for example, in Austria, I know it because we don't have a C. We have a ISA federation. I am the head of SUP in the ISA, you know, because it is there. But we don't have SUP federations like regional federations. So we cannot use any kind of foundings from the government. So when I want to have a founding, I go to the ICF, you know, and I have to ask them because they got the foundings for. And then they decide, you know, they don't have to give me the foundings, but they tell like, okay, it's a ICF World Championships. This the elite level athlete. Okay, you got the founding for this. And this is the interesting part, that the Eastern European countries like Bulgaria, I don't know, Hungary, Poland, and so on, or Romania, what we talked about now, they also have ISA for sure, but very small because they don't have a C. You know, they don't have clubs, and they have a huge ICF federation, national federation, with, I don't know, hundreds of clubs. And that's where the power is of the ICF. They are at the base.
And Christian, we need to talk about this. We didn't rehearse this before. Is the format? They definitely have an influence on the format. That's the thing with the ICF. They decide something and they go full on, and they tell you plain straight, boom, it's like this, and we just follow suit basically. And I correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe they are probably responsible for the inline sprints. 28 in China
was a big discussion.
Okay.
It was a big discussion because you know, everyone was like, oh, this will be so boring, this will be so boring, you know. And then this final where Conor Baxter won, you know, was the pictures were going around the world, you know. It was like, I was in the final actually, you know, it was in the sprint final open. Yeah, it was really interesting.
Oh, you're just going off.
No, I was finishing last but it was in the final, you know. I qualified for the final actually. But anyway, there was like I think we were 12 or 14 at the final, so a lot of guys, you know, and then pushing hard, and it was crazy. Look at the pictures; it's still like, you know, was really interesting and really like powerful, you know, these pictures. Where Conor won, I think Claudio Nica second, and then I'm not sure, as Andre was fourth. I think the South American. Brazilian, yeah.
Arthur Santa Cruz.
Arthur Santa Cruz, yes. He's also a coach now. He's coaching Mano Royela. Yeah, so he's like a sports scientist and working in Brazil. Yeah, and so I talked to Mano about him. A really nice guy. I also talked to him in China and the events after, because I also at the ISA I met him. Very nice guy, but he finished third. But anyway, they just did this, you know. and everyone was complaining first. And after this, everyone wanted to do it, you know? It was like that, you know?
You
And
know who the big moaner. I hope she'll excuse me for calling her like that, but Olivia Piana, Ocean Girl,
yes,
like did won the title, and the and she comes out of it saying, well, I was really against it at the beginning, but now I have to say I love it, you know. And
I
all
know.
of a sudden, the ICF introduces this inline sprint. First of all, 200 meters, and bim, it's accepted. It's on the agenda, and now we have athletes who have
100.
a third discipline to go, because for many years it was all about technical racing and long distance. Uh,
And they reduced it, reduced it to 100. And which was actually also a smart step, because when you see now the racing, at the first it was always, it will be always a discussion when you do some changes. But anyway, people were looking at it like, okay, let's try. And everyone tried, and everyone sees, okay, it's actually even better than 200, because 100 is more a sprint than 200, you know? So they were also right in this decision. And I think it will move on with 100, you know?
yeah.
So yeah, makes sense.
So
So a lot
sprints,
of,
but also
yeah,
technical race. Now
to
the norm
shorten
for
it, yes,
technical racing is 1K, and the norm for long distance is 10K.
yes.
Prior to that, it
But
was not as
they learned.
normalized.
They learned at the first Worlds. It was, I think, 4K or something, or 3.5, something like this. It was long. I was dying, you know, really in China, the technical race, and the long distance should have been 18. And there were big discussions because the wind and the waves, it was crazy. So they shortened it. It was like 12 at the end or something. But they also shortened it now. You know, it's like 10 is okay. 1K for the tech race. Then
Yeah,
they started to implement the beach starts as mandatory. So that's actually cool, you know. It's the
yeah.
decisions are not bad, let's say. You know, they are like proper.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just going to let's finish on the global presentation of the ICF with just one maybe a little critic, but I don't think there's much they can do about its resources. They don't have a huge amount of resources, so they do have a lot of weight. I think mainly coming from all that history and all that structure, nationwide, European-wide, international wide. Or worldwide, sorry. But when it comes to actually getting involved with the organization of everything, obviously, you know, hands down, they do an amazing job, usually with a great local organizer for the World Championship. But apart from that, it's all down to it's not that easy to get all the information. I mean, I was at the Spring SUP race, top number 1 this weekend. There's no ICF representative. Why? Not because they don't want to go, because they don't have the budget to pay for an ICF representative to be there at every event and so on. So I think they've been very lucky as well with first of all relying on great events like the Spring SUP race, which were existing before, like the Lake Rocks Festival, the Agios Nikolaos on SUP and so on, which are amazing advertising for the ICF. But when you go to those events, you expect to see ICF dressing of the event, but that's not the case at all.
Now,
So
I
imagine
can
if
tell
they
you the
did get
problem, and
involved a little bit more.
this is now coming back to the first initial thing you told. The sport is not Olympic, and the whole ICF system is an Olympic system. That's why all the foundings are coming from Olympic sports. It's not from not Olympic sports. The non-Olympic sports is like, let's say, under 10%, and the Olympic sports were 90% or more than 90%. So as long as they don't get the sport to the Olympics, it's worth almost nothing in most of the countries. So it's a huge difference. It's like in Austria, you get like 3 million if it's Olympic, and you get 3,000 when you're not Olympic, something like this. It's like, it's crazy, you know, the difference. So, and then you can talk about the, you know, branding an event and doing it like another level. I'm still surprised that I think they lose money. They lose money doing this, you know? actually, when I think about it. So it's like they stay there, they build a frame, but I'm sure they are not earning any kind of money. They're losing money with all this stand-up paddle thing. For
Sure.
sure.
So what we're basically concluding is that the success of they've got a framework, and the success of these events are really down to the community. Just like Andre Crater was saying
Absolutely.
a couple of days ago on one of his posts coming out of the Spring SUP race.
Yeah, and this is also like an advantage when you have it like now without Olympics, that the local community is even stronger, you know? So they are really worth a lot. There's nobody from the top who's telling them what to do, you know? So if they are motivated, they can, you know, invent themselves and whatever fits to their environment. And this is strong. This is the strongest thing we can get in the sport. That's why I'm not the guy who is telling without the Olympic sports it's not possible. It's absolutely possible without Olympics. And I don't think it's better or less good if it's Olympic or not. It's just different, you know?
Absolutely. Christian,
yeah, but 100%, sorry, 100% up to you, to your, I'm with you with the, how is it presented in the internet? I just have it open here and we discussed it before a little bit. It's a little bit of chaotic when you see these names of the events. The events are some kind of ranking, World Cup or international event, and I don't know. So it's even hard for insiders like us to get the information, what's happening.
Cut, Christian. I've just lost power on my computer, so I'm gonna grab the thing. You're gonna have to make a cut here, okay? I'll be
no problem.
Or if you want, you cut now. And up to you. I'll be right back.
No. Just leave it like that. Yeah.
That is good, huh? Good half an hour to present everything.
Yeah, now we just do the events, huh? We go through the events.
Yeah. Let's not go crazy, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. So you were saying I need to bounce back on what you were saying. Like information is not very clear, and we're here to decode all of that. Okay.
Yes. To
Just 1
decode
second.
the things which are called differently or whatever, you know. So maybe explain that there is a world ranking for the skipping. Yeah, we did this before actually, so we don't need this again. We go through the list of events, huh? So this was the first event now, and then we move on.
Yeah. Plus we explain European Championship and Youth World Cup. Okay.
Yes. Okay. Let's go. So Mathieu, what we had the first race now from the ICF ranking race series, where you get these points for skipping the first elimination rounds at the World Championships and so on, for the qualification more or less. And now what's on the plan throughout the season? Can you explain it to us, please?
Yeah. So the Spring SUP race just took place. So that's stop number 1. The next one is going to be the Lake Rock Festival on Lake Fahrkirchsee in Austria. You're probably better than me at pronouncing Austrian names, but basically it's a big event. It's a huge event. It's a grassroots event as well as a festival, and clearly top level international athletes race as well. So Lake Fahrkirchsee, 4 days, and that's from May 14 to May 17. So I really recommend you to attend this amazing event. On the sports side, managed by Gerd Weissner, who is who's got many hats, founder of Lightboard Corp, the hollow board construction high performance boards. He manages and he owns the SUP Alpstrophy Circuit, which is a Central European circuit, Germany, Austria, Slovenia, and of course the Lake Rocks Festival is also his baby that he runs in cooperation with the local tourist bureau, who invest a lot of money. They've got a great paddling program, basically. And they invest in this event to feature Lake Fahrkirchsee and the environment, the region around, as a great paddle destination. Whatever your craft, by the way, canoe, kayak, stand-up paddling, of course, for tourism reasons.
Yeah, it's an outdoor sports festival actually. They want to create like the region. It's so beautiful. They have so many mountains in the winter, skiing in the summer, mountaineering, mountain biking, hiking, whatever, you know. Then they have a lot of lakes in the region. So and the funny fact behind it is that they actually had on the same weekend a huge VW car meeting for these tuned cars, you know, and this was very famous. And but the community was somehow not fitting to the place, and because it's like, you know, it's loud, it's dirty, it's like, you know, and the board of tourism, including the hotels and all the managements, you know, because every tourist regional tourist like hotel or whatever it is was pushing them to change it to something which includes the nature around, you know. And that's how they came up with this idea. Okay, let's do stand-up paddling. And they went to the stand-up paddle World Championships 2021 to Balaton, to Hungary. And they told me afterwards, they called me and they're like, we do this World Championships next year. And I was like, what the hell, how, you know? And yeah, we can do this. We talked to them what it's cost, and yeah, we have a good team, we do this, you know? And then we started somehow to create something. I connected them, I told them, do a 5 year, 6 years plan, think a little bit ahead, you know, you have to grow it, to learn it. And so I connected them to Gerd Weissner, and then this was the first step to do like a smaller Alpstrophy event, you know, like regional Austrian event. This was the first year, and then it was like growing and growing. Second year was already like ICF and so on, you know, and the rest is history. They were growing it, and they were more professional each year. And Gerd does a great job, but also the local organizing team with Michael on top, they are like doing great.
Yeah, absolutely. And what we have also during the Lake Rocks Festival is a great live stream with a great team. You were the initiator of the very first live stream, actually, Christian. So thanks for that, for taking me on board on that adventure. And you introduced a live stream team, which is still in place right now. They were students with you at the time because you were teaching in a high school, or no?
Yeah, there was a technical high school. Yes, a technical high school in Austria, like elite high school. So it was computer engineering was the topic of this technical high school. And I got some special pupils which are really, really good what they're doing. And it was really short term, you know, like I was talking to Gerd and we were talking about the event, and I was like, yeah, maybe I can do this, or maybe we should do this. We just tried, you know. I brought my private drones, you know, and they set it up, and we also, you know, we did everything, or actually the guys and me in the background, we did actually everything without investing money, you know. It was just hard work.
Sure.
It was really interesting. And it was not perfect, but it was something, you know, to start. And they learned, and you know, now it's, I think, one of the best live streams we got on the tour.
Yeah, and those two guys that you brought in 3 years ago, I think they are contemplating now doing it full time, basically as a live stream company. So anyway, every year I meet a great team, and everything works with small means. It actually gets bigger every year, and we expect something great also in 2026. So that Lake Rocks Festival, apart from the technical race and the long distance, there's also 2 full days of paddling. The inaugural day is usually an ISUP river race, but right in the heart of the neighboring town of remind me,
Villach.
Villach,
Yeah.
and with hundreds of people who actually watch from the bridge. It's a 3 to 4 hour long competition. It's really a lot of fun, and everybody is really taking part, even top athletes, and the level is actually already very good usually on that first day.
Yeah.
On the second day, since last year or 2 years ago, I can't remember. 2 years ago, they've introduced a sprint race, which is based on a time trial. So a bit like the Chrono-SUP race at the Spring SUP race, but with automatic sensors, and now the possibility to go left or right at the buoy and finishing left or right from where you start. And the result is a long line of tens of paddlers waiting for their turn. You can actually start whenever you want, because it's all based on you crossing the
line.
chips, the line. And obviously you need to adjust. If you think you're going to be faster than the guy in front, you're going to wait for him to maybe finish his turn to actually launch yourself. But it's for like 4 hours, I think. You can actually take as many turns as you want. You have automatic rendering of the results
Display.
on a display. And last year we improvised another last round of sprints for the top five, like a big final in the top five. And I mean, that was just amazing. So it's not just tech race and long distance,
No,
and
sprint
no
is
sprints
great.
actually.
Yeah, Gerd invented this, and it's great. It's great. I was not sure about it, but it makes sense, especially at this place, because there's not so much space, you know, and you cannot really follow if they sprint outside. So actually, it's the perfect fit. It's the perfect fit for this, you know. And we did it actually
One
2
of the
times last year, or we did it 2 times in Austria at events, also in at the Wolfgangsee in September, at the Legend of Ox. And both events were really good in the sprints. You know, this format works. Yeah.
So after stop number 2 at the Lake Rocks Festival, which is on May 14 to May 17, you're gonna have to wait 5 weeks before stop number 3 of the ICF SUP Circuit. This time it's a World Cup, and it's in Torbay, UK. Torbay is in the southwest of England. And it's the first time, I believe, the UK is hosting an ICF international event, and it's organized by a gentleman called Brendan Prince. Brendan Prince is fairly known in the UK, in the world of stand-up paddle, of paddling just in general. In 2021, he did a circumnavigation of the British Isle, actually mainland Britain. 2,500 miles. I think that's more than 4,000 kilometers in 141 days. So he started at one point and came back home, basically, and is a bit of a ultra long distance adventurer superstar from that moment, basically. And he's also an event organizer. And is basically taking the leadership on that event, which is called. It's got several names. It's called the Super Festival, the English Riviera Festival. It's got the ICF label, and I think that's going to be an interesting one. Unfortunately, it's clashing with another European event in Poland, stop number 4, I think, of the European SUP League. It's the only event that where international paddlers, only dates that international paddlers are going to have to decide whether they go to the UK or Poland, if any, and that's on June 24, 28. And most likely they will have a live stream, and I believe Sarah Thornley from Sub Junkie, as well as a chap called Simon, who hosts a podcast on a regular basis. SUP FM, I think it's called. Will be on the mic, and maybe our very own Anna Nadolna, head of content at TotalSUP. She lives in the UK, and she might be a guest on the mic as well, to be confirmed. But basically, that would be stop number 3.
Okay, but can you maybe tell us, or I hope you know, how the conditions will look like? What kind of races are there? Because then also the athletes can compare it to the race event in Poland, and makes the decision maybe a little bit easier for them.
I mean, it's a wild guess because I haven't looked thoroughly, but I take this is an ocean event. That's a big question mark. So you put me on the spot there, but I'm pretty sure it's an ocean race down in Torbay, near Turkey. Yeah, have a look at the English Riviera Super Festival. You've got the links on TotalSUP. By the way, on that note, we were saying earlier that the information with the ICF is a little bit scattered around. We had a pretty nice visual going around, but missing some dates, which are actually presented on a dedicated ICF SUP World Series link on the official website of the ICF. That event is actually Washington. We'll talk in the US. We'll talk about that in a minute. If you look at the agenda, the actual calendar, and you select the date on the Canoe-ICF.com website, you don't find all the information. So I've gathered all of that and put it on TotalSUP on the event calendar. So all you have to do is to go to TotalSUP.com. You select events. When you're on the full event page, you click on ICF in the series, and there you will have all the events for the ICF, which include also the ICF World Cup. I want to talk about that for the juniors. I want to talk about that at the end of that podcast, as well as the European Championship. All right.
Okay,
That's it.
got it. Perfect. Sounds good.
Okay.
So maybe this might be a good article for TotalSUP also to compare maybe these two events, because for me it sounds like a different thing, we talked before, because then you have the Surfing Federation who does a SUP event in Poland, which is, I don't know, maybe on a lake, or where is it there? And you have this ICF who's doing a ocean race. So it's interesting, huh?
Good point. Is it on flat water in Poland? I haven't checked. I
I
think
don't
you're
know.
right.
I don't
I think
know.
it's on a river. I think it's
Yeah.
on a river. It's called the Orda SUP Cup. Yeah, and that is, it's not the first time I noticed this, especially with the APP World Tour, which is supposed to be backed by the International Surfing Association. Many of the last events of the APP World Tour happened on closed waters, basically, and flat waters. So yeah, well, one of the abnormalities of our sport, I guess. But you know what? Nevertheless, I think both events are going to be great. I would be personally in Poland through my commitment with the European SUP League. But having lived in the UK many years, I will be definitely watching from Poland what's happening in the UK.
Yeah. So what happened that you're not allowed to enter Great Britain anymore?
That's it. They've got me on fire. But I actually love the UK. I really have a love relationship with with Great Britain from a very young age, and I've mentioned that whenever I had the opportunity. Among other things, I was at some point in my life I was an actor, and I took part in the Edinburgh Fringe Festival, which is the biggest theatre festival in the world. I did an Erasmus year in Nottingham, and I also started my working as a professional online marketer in Cambridge back in 2002 or so, 2003. And I lived there for 5 years after that. So yeah, I spent quite a lot of time in the UK, and I studied English, of course, at university, which is brought me even closer to Great Britain.
Yeah, crazy. Hey, cool story, cool story. So yeah, it shows that there is a lot of experience and a lot of years of traveling and living abroad in your pocket to show it. Also, your experience in the live streams when you present the races, because you did this before with different sports, I guess. Huh? Did you do other sports before?
My background as a sport. I'll be very short on this, but yeah, I used to play football when I was young. Then I was really fast, so I did 10 years of track and field competitions. I was a sprinter and a hurdler. Took part in many years in the French national championships. Finished fourth, my best ranking. Unfortunately, not on the podium, but just outside. We used to do winter and summer competitions, so indoor and outdoor track and field competition. So I was also a long jumper. Is that how you say it? And yeah,
Yeah,
but mainly hurdles. 110-meter hurdles was really my thing, and I wasn't too shabby at it. So there you go. And then I played
very
rugby and
cool.
used that running skills for other sports until I discovered stand-up paddling, and then the rest is basically total SUP and a few stand-up paddle competitions, and I discovered outrigger canoe on the back of that, and I basically split my time when I do sport between outrigger canoeing and stand-up paddling now, basically.
Perfect.
Thanks for
You
asking.
know, that's really cool. That's really cool. So let's walk through the next event, which is the event
Yes.
after the UK Paddle Fest.
All right. Yes. So the stop number 4 of the circuit will be Agios Nikolaos. That's the Agios Nikolaos on SUP event. But there's a trick there. There's or rather a good surprise. We're going to have the European Championship organized at the same time or back to back with the ICF World Cup, and the two events are going to be basically a full 5-day event. First, the European Championship under the ECA, European Canoe Association, now renamed Paddle Europe since last year. I'm sure you've seen the press releases from
Sure.
the European Canoe Association. So Paddle Europe. They will share the long distance with the Agios Nikolaos on SUP ICF event.
So only
And
one race in long distance for both events.
there's only one long distance race, absolutely,
Race.
and that's where the international competitors can take part. Obviously, they will race the same race, but with a separate ranking for the European Canoe Association, the Paddle Europe Championship, and also obviously score points for the ICF World Cup. I will be going there for the first time. I don't know if you've been to Agios Nikolaos before, Christian. Maybe you can tell us how
Yes.
great the event is.
Yes. I was there first time, I think in 1987 or 88 with my parents, but there was no paddling, but we did windsurfing, you know. Because actually the north of Crete is pretty famous for windsurfing, and also the south for surfing in the winter. But the north, you know, the Meltemi, the wind is blowing from the north, and you always have some onshore waves during the summer season, and that's why I traveled there.
Yeah.
But the question was, I think, if I raced there, and yes, I did. Also the Agios Nikolaos stand-up paddle race event, and it's a really nice venue, you know, with this small lake, and then I would say ocean race with like downwind, sidewind, upwind. You have everything inside in the race, like a little bit of flat water in between and so on, in the long distance, and then the sprints and the technical race extra, where you really can have a mix of conditions. So yeah, it's beautiful. I love Greece, you know, and Crete Island is also the perfect place for that.
Yeah, and obviously a great organization as well. We see a
Yes.
fantastic live stream every year, so I will be speaking on the mic this year. I've been promoting that event actually year after year through TotalSUP for a long time now, but it's the first time I'm going there, and that's on I don't think I said the date. That's on September 20 to 23rd. So the European Championship will start on the 18th. So basically, 18 to 23, we've got the Agios Nikolaos on SUP. The first 2 days or first 3 days are European Championship. The last 3 days are the ICF SUP World Cup with I guess technical race and sprints as well. So 20 to 23rd of September. So there's going to be a big break basically in the summer between the Torbay on June 24 to 28 before stop number 4, which will be Agios Nikolaos, September 2023. But there's a bit of a strange one actually popping on my screen right there on that ICF link. On the same date, there's an event I've never heard of. So big question mark as to what this event is about. It's definitely branded as an ICF World Ranking event. It says it's on 18th of September to the 20th. So first of all, I don't understand why it hasn't been ranked in chronological order on that Canoe ICF page. And it says it's in Gig Harbor, Washington. I take that's the state of Washington, not Washington DC, but Washington as in on the other side of the country, West Coast, USA. No information on that one. I haven't had time to dig on this, but basically it's listed as an official ICF SUP World ranking event on a dedicated page, 18th to 20th of September, Gig Harbor, Washington, USA. Any information that you can bring, Christian, about this?
No, not really about that race. I only hope that it will happen because I think also the Northern Americans, they need a ICF race to qualify, also like internal, you know, like in the countries. So this might be, and also like to have the chance without huge travel costs to earn some qualifying points, you know, because it's actually the only event there in this year. So yeah, I hope it will happen, and yeah, I think it could be another great article for TotalSUP, you know, to dug into this one and show the sub scene abroad, you know, which is not European, because everything is like more or less centered now in Europe. But yeah, they actually started the whole thing, and in the US, you know, with Hawaii and the other parts of the USA, and then it spread out. So yeah, I hope it gains some new and good paddlers again, and they come to the worlds wherever they are.
Okay, while you were talking, Christian, I was researching this on Google. It actually corresponds to the USA SUP National Championships at Narrows Challenge 2026, September 18th, September 20th, Gig Harbor. And it does also mention surf skis and outriggers. So it sounds like it's a multi-craft event used also for the USA SUP National. Under which federation? I'm not sure yet. I'm sure, you know, this podcast is also there to get
No,
information.
it must
So
be ICF.
please.
If it's here, it's ICF. It's for sure ICF because it's on the
Oh,
ICF page,
ICF
you
for
know.
sure.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
I'm referring to the national federation. So you probably the Canoe,
yeah,
USA Canoe
sure,
Federation. I'm not sure. Let's
absolutely, yeah, absolutely. No,
okay,
no, that's for sure. And
okay.
actually, it's one interesting part about the paddlers from the US. I just recently had a chat with Connor Baxter, and he will qualify and come to the Worlds, to the ICF Worlds in Italy.
Wow.
So, pretty interesting story because, you know, he's one of these um, paddlers who like took a break on top level, you know. And now all the young guys were coming up, and you know, the guys from Canoe came in, and so on. And this would be really interesting, you know, to see
Yeah,
them racing because actually he's one of a few who are left from the surfing side back then, you know, where there was the big
absolutely.
clash. Yeah, and so well, this might be really cool to see, and I look hard forward to experience this clash of the cultures, more or less, you know,
Yeah, Conor
and the
Baxter, an
ages.
absolute legend of the sport, who took a year to actually train as a firefighter in
Yes,
back in Maui, where he lives, and basically in that year, he couldn't actually leave the leave his territory in order to train for this, and so he dedicated his time for that. And wow, that's a very cool piece of news that you're bringing, Christian. Really look forward to that clash of culture, of generation, and I'm sure Connor still got it on the in the sprints and perhaps also in the technical race. It's going to be very interesting to watch.
yeah, I think, you know, when you commit yourself to come back like that, then you train for it, you know. And if you train for it and you have this athletic background like him and this technical background also from stand-up paddling, so he will be good, you know. Yeah, the only thing which we don't know is how much the level was rising in between this time, you know, from there where he took the break and until now. If the level was like, I don't know, rising so much that he cannot, I don't know, cannot get up with them. I don't know. We will see, you know,
Well,
or maybe he's like still crushing it, you know. So let's see.
I wouldn't be surprised. I would be surprised if he wasn't at least in the final, but I actually think he could go much higher than that. When was the last time he was on the podium? Wasn't it in 20 in Thailand when
Yes,
of the World Championship 2023, and he was second
yes,
behind
exactly.
Noik and ahead of Andre. Am I correct?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yes, yes. It was like that.
Okay.
It was very tight finish at the end between Andre and Connor. And Connor took it with this crazy move at the end, you know, where he like was I don't know, like almost shot his board over the line and was still somehow holding on to it, you know. So it was like something which we never saw before, but it was really cool because he trained it before and he used it at the right moment and in the right timing. So everyone was
Yeah,
impressed that he was able to do that. And it was 200 meters, you know, not 100.
that's right.
So actually will be the first time that he's racing at the 100. So it's interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow, what a great story. I really look forward to the Worlds, and actually that's what's coming up next on our ICF agenda. So 1 month after Washington, USA, 1 month after Agios Nikolaos, Crete, Greece. We've got the big one, ICF SUP Worlds 2026 in Sabaudia, Italy, which is a new location. So where's Sabaudia? It's about an hour and a half southwest of Rome. So fairly easy to get to. That's easier to get to than Sicily, which was a fantastic location. But obviously, this winter suffered a huge storm, which damaged a lot of facilities which were dedicated to the ICF, the upcoming ICF SUP Worlds. So last minute change. It was announced just a few weeks ago. Sabaudia, not Saudi Arabia, by the way. Just don't go back to Abu Dhabi or to or to that region. It's not very safe at the moment, actually. Sabaudia, Italy.
Yeah.
So although it's on the west coast of Italy, it's actually not going to be on the sea, as far as I know. So far, there's just like in Comacchio, where you've got a long lake adjacent to the sea, the Adriatic Sea. Well, you've got a long lake in Sabaudia, which is adjacent to the Med, and that's where the competition is going to be. And it's probably, I have the feeling this is going to be a huge event. Perhaps at the same level as what we've experienced in Thailand, in Pattaya, which has been so far the biggest of the World Championships organized by the SCF.
Yes, I think the same. So this will be huge, and yeah, the lake there or the venue looks really pretty similar to Camacho, which we saw already at the spring sub race. They have a 4 kilometer long rowing race course actually at the lake. So it's yeah, there's a lot of space, to run all events. The only thing which is not sure, I think, and which they check at the moment is if they got a beach there for beach starts for the technical race. This could be one of the things they might move the technical race to the sea. But
Okay.
then again, you can have the same problems, So like in Camacho, it can be a nice day and a calm day, and the Mediterranean Sea is like a pancake, Then everything is fine. You have sandy beach there, beautiful, But on the next day, there is like I don't know, 3 meter hardcore shore break, crazy stuff where I
Yeah.
don't know, only five people in the world can paddle out, So
Yeah.
everything is possible actually there, and this is like a big risk if you commit the event or really like force the event to run it on the sea, So you always have to have this backup to go to the lake and do something there, Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have this information from this possibility from an official of the ICF that the technical race could actually take place on
Yes, yes, and
on the sea?
they are checking now. So they are actually, I think, at this week or yeah, I think at these days they are there with the official uh, team, and they look at the venue because it was new announced to look at the venue with the Italian Federation together, what they can run at what place, and so to have like already maps and everything, all informations for the bulletin one, which will come out soon, and then there is this information inside.
Okay. Well, the weather conditions can be very varied in October, and we're talking even the second part of October. So if that's the case, the sea could bring a variety of conditions. But to be honest, I always I always welcome whatever conditions there are. Obviously, apart from very extreme conditions, what you've just mentioned, 3 meter waves is impossible for many paddlers to handle. Um, but yeah, I don't mind. I don't mind the chop. I don't mind the sea. I don't mind 1 meter waves. Actually, they bring a
Yeah,
great show. And for technical race, I mean, it's called technical race for a reason. I think a paddler has got to adapt to all kinds of condition, especially in the technical race discipline. That means handling the currents, the waves, the buoy turns, the chop, passing the bar, coming back with the bar, and running on the beach. We saw some events where you had to finish a technical race or a long distance race with a 100 or more than 100 meter beach run. You need to prepare for that, and I know a few racers who actually lost their positions on that running section. So it's an all-round sport, and people shouldn't forget about it.
yes. Absolutely. I'm with you at this point. The thing is, they have to announce it early enough that everyone can train it. This is always the point. Uh, and yeah, sad enough, we had it in Sarasota, you know it. I was really pissed off at that point because they announced exactly the how the technical race will be with like beach start, beach run, beach start again, and so on. So some of the athletes trained really hard. I was one of those, you know. Uh, and we knew already from the year before that it's a very difficult there to beach start. It's a steep entry to the water. So, you know, as an athlete, you have to search for this kind of conditions then. You know, I was driving around searching for coastline, for beach entries like that to train this. Then we went there. It was hard, sure, but for me it was no problem, and the others who trained it too. But then you have always this again that some people did not train it. You know, they came there, they fucked up their fins, they fucked up their boards. You know, and so they broke stuff, and in the end they changed it to a completely different format on for one day to another, and then yeah, it was like it was still a technical race, but those who trained for it, they had like not an advantage anymore. And this should
No,
not happen this time. I'm pretty sure they learned also their lesson. And so they will really like put out the map, they put out the rules, and then they will stick to it. And they will make it as safe as possible so the wind, weather, and so on cannot interfere too much, you know?
absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, good point. But you know what? These World Championships are not going to be your last ICF event of the year because there's an event in Turkey, which is actually pretty big down in Turkey. It's called the
Yeah.
SUP Cup Kemer, and it will be the last ICF World Ranking event. So there is a World Championships, but there's also a World Ranking under the ICF, which is unfortunately not very well promoted again by the ICF. I mean, if you want to find the rankings of last year, you can if you look for it, but I really think there's a lack of communication and push for this to be actually taken into much bigger consideration. I know, for example, and that's the only thing I know because I actually looked for it, that Donato France is leading the long distance ranks for that in 2025 for that. I know nothing else because I haven't even been as a stand-up paddle media, dedicated media. I haven't even been contacted by the ICF about this. So I think there's that ranking. Obviously, it's a lot of events every year, and you've got a big community attending all those events. I think they should communicate a lot better on those rankings and celebrate those events. Anyway,
Yes,
the last
absolutely. I also
some
agree on that. Wait, Mathieu. I
yeah.
also have to tell when you look at in the web, I was doing some research um, about these calendars and so on. So actually, it's really confusing at the ICF page, you know. And the thing which you put out there with the on the TotalSUP web page looks actually really good. It's simple and it shows the dates and it shows the events, and the events are linked to the right pages. So actually I can only tell if you are interested to get informations at the moment, it looks like it's easier to get it and better to get it from the TotalSUP webpage, from your page, than from the official site. So yeah, so we have to maybe push them a little bit more, or yeah, actually just tell the people, go to the TotalSUP webpage and look for the events there, because you update it, I think, every day or every second
Yeah.
day. So it's really accurate. It's really up to date.
Thank you, Christian. But I have to admit that I was talking about the rankings, and for that, I haven't really communicated on that at all. Just because the ICF doesn't make me feel like it's a big thing that should be really talked about. So apologies to the athletes who would probably would want this to be more communicated, but I think. Uh, I'm as the messenger. I think the main person who publishes this should be really really doing the biggest job as to showing how important this is for the athletes before it is relayed by myself, but also other media websites. So
Yes.
yeah. So
They are
do you
actually,
look
I
at those
think they're
rankings?
preparing this. They're preparing this for the future because actually at the moment it doesn't matter much. You know, okay, you have this kind of you skip the first rounds in the seeding, you have a better seeding in the technical race, sprint, and so on. But this doesn't matter much, you know, for the athletes. But you always have to think about what are they doing in canoe kayak. So actually there it's really important to get a qualification from your national federation to even attend at the World Cup or a world ranking race or a world championship. So you cannot just sign up. This is only in SUP, you know. In all other
Yeah.
disciplines, it's not the case. So actually, this could be or is a big thing when you are in your national federation. You can show them, okay, I am the best Austrian, for example, in the long distance race. You see the ranking here, the ICF. This is your ranking. Give me the qualification for the worlds and I get some money, you know, because I got founding, because I'm the
Absolutely.
best. I'm in the national team. We have three persons who are in the national team. I'm one of those, you know, the first three.
Yeah.
That's it, you know, something like that. But it's not in SUP. It doesn't fit at the moment, not really. But in the background, you also see we have this national team ranking after the worlds or in the worlds, and there are also just some athletes qualified for it because this is the thing where the national federations nominate the athletes. And yeah, sometimes it's not the best athlete, but it's the best ICF athlete from their country, you know. So this is
Okay.
yeah, it's just their system which does not fit 100% to stand-up paddling at the moment, but they prepare for the future, you know. And so it's
Okay.
always like a little bit a step ahead. It looks stupid at the moment, but I think, you know, on the big picture, it can be in the future. It can be important.
Yeah. Well, once again, communication is key, and they should really do
Yeah,
a better effort to communicate all this and celebrate also in each category the best the best in each discipline and potentially overall. Is there actually an overall ranking uh, for sprints, or is it per discipline?
per discipline,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
also the age groups are separated. So yeah,
Okay.
it's like that.
All right. So SUP Cup Kemmer, it's in Antalya, so it's in at a beach called Moonlight Beach, um,
Yeah.
Antalya, Turkey, and that's on October 28th to 31st, and it will be the last ICF event of the year. And strangely enough, after the World Championship, you can still score points for the whole season to be on that ICF ranking. Indeed. Have you been to Antalya? Do you know anything about this event? Have you been to that event, Christian?
I've never been to this event, but I've been there at this place. Already when I was living in Turkey. Actually, there are also some really good waves there during the winter season. And I was surfing there with a small local community. They're really nice. They're like maybe 10 people in Turkey who are surfing. And they always connect as soon as possible. And they're super nice and tell you, okay, hey, next weekend or next few days, just jump in the plane and we go for wave hunt somewhere in Antalya, you know. And so I went there a few times. Also drove there with the car and different stuff, and it's beautiful. And we did also in this region the training camps during the winter season, because it's actually a similar region like Sabaudia. So some of the canoe athletes, kayak athletes go to Sabaudia, and the others are going to Turkey. This is very common in the canoe world. Maybe also both, you know, they're going 2 weeks there, 2 weeks there, or something like that, because yeah, it's cold in Hungary or in Poland or in Austria, you know, so they are doing training camps there.
So
Okay.
yeah, the facilities will be perfect. They will run for sure a perfect event because they are used to it. They have big hotels, gastronomy, food is perfect. You will see, and the weather will be still fine at that time, I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, a great way to end the year potentially. Obviously, we're
Yes.
still waiting for the ISA World Championships dates to be announced. Most likely after the ICF World Championships, just like last year, I guess. But yeah, I mean, it sounds like a fantastic destination, and yeah, I might try and go there, to be honest myself, if I'm available at those dates. Christian,
Yeah,
there's one.
would be a great way.
Yeah, there's one ICF event that we haven't talked about in details yet, and it's outside of the SUP World Ranking events. It's called the ICF SUP Junior International Cup, and it is the very first event dedicated under the ICF, dedicated to the juniors, with 3 age
Yes.
groups: under 14, under 16, and under 18, basically it's a red carpet event for those kids, those young athletes, with a lot in prize money and goodies, and basically a professionally run event down in Tulcea, Romania,
Yeah.
and organized by a guy called Gabriel, who was actually racing this weekend, and his team, and they have for ambassador uh, actually a kid who is coached by Gabriel, called Mathieu Barbu, of course, the 2024 sprint world champion, junior sprint world champion, Mathieu Barbu, that we talked about in our previous podcast. He did really well during the Sprint Cup race.
Yes.
So basically, Romania is welcoming all the juniors of the world, under 14, under 16, under 18, for all 3 disciplines, and at a junior specific event.
Yeah, sounds really good. And this is actually, I think, one of these events where also the ICF tries to implement their way to run events to SUP, because I told you before, in all other disciplines, you have age groups separate. So at the World Championship level, you have separate events for every age group. So you have Masters World Championships, you have Junior World Championships, you have Open World Championships, which are separate events. And yeah, this is one of the first tries. You see, they picked out the juniors, which is a great thing, because they push into the sport, and for them it's really important to have events also dedicated to them, so where they are the stars, and not some age group. And yeah, I think it will be a big success. It looks like a great location.
I think so too. It's a great location, and I said Tulcea, but I made a mistake. It's actually Pitesti, the Baskov Budeasa Regatta course. The Tulcea event is an ultra long distance event, also happening in Romania, almost at the same time. I think in May, but it's in Romania. Find all the information on TotalSUP.com. It's in a town called Pitesti. And yeah, they are taking their junior seriously over there, and I really look forward to seeing what's coming out of it, for sure. So it's June 19 to June 21. June 19 to June 21, Romania, the first ICF Sub Junior International Cup. It's a local initiative backed by the ICF. So it's not an ICF event. The ICF didn't come up with the idea. The Romanians did, and asked for an ICF label, and it's going to be a pilot event, and they're already talking about doing it yearly.
Yes, that sounds great. Actually, this is one of the things also which separates the ICF to the ISA. The ICF always works with the local federation. So they have always local organizers and only a few helpers, let's say, from the ICF. But the local federation is running the event. And ISA style was always like, we bring everything, we get to the spot, we run the thing, with our experts, and that's it. And you can, this is a different approach. And so, yeah, that's also why they are always different, really different. The ICF World Championships. So you have like every national federation, every event organizer is bringing their personal note to the whole thing, And as I told, it's also like a kind of quality. I like it that there is a difference,
I agree. Okay, well, I think that's it for the ICF calendar this year.
Yes.
Obviously, all the information you can find on TotalSUP. We worked with most of these at TotalSUP with most of these events, promoting them. So running interviews and local rider interviews, and obviously presenting all the information that you need to get there, and registration links from our event calendar. So make sure to watch TotalSUP.com for this. Please, Christian.
Two more things. First thing, age group 60 plus. Do you have any information if it's happening or not at the Worlds?
Okay.
Because we had it now at the ICF event in Camacho. We had 60 plus at an ICF event, and it was actually a success because in the men's they were like, I don't know, a lot, but they really big, a lot, and yeah, and they are really good. So it's like it has some quality to add them, and they will go to their Worlds if they have their own age group. Maybe they don't come when they have to start with the 50 plus because they feel like unfair, treated unfair because they are so much older, I can relate, so this is the first question. You don't know anything about it yet, huh?
I do partly. So basically, there's a petition, official petition that's been going around for a few months now. Deborah Blumenthal from Israel was one of the athletes actually starting it. It was signed by quite a lot of people already presented to the ICF, and I understand right now they are going to. Well, they have to wait for the yearly big reunion, board reunion to adapt this new category with the SUP Racing World. Unfortunately, it sounds like it won't happen this year. The Spring SUP race showed that how easy it is to just add two categories, male and female, at an event. So I don't really understand why you have to go through so much bureaucracy to add something so obvious. But obviously, I'm not in that part of the SUP politics. So it sounds like it should be more of a 2027 edition rather than 2026.